Million dollar question. Yes, we've made a lot of money the last 3 years. I made, you made, we all make together. But is the party over? Is it the end of the ride? Are we at the end of this AI build out? Is this a bubble that is bursting? Or are we still at the early stages of this AI revolution? I think this is the million dollar question a lot of people are asking, and that's why you're here today. Yes? Okay. Now, I don't mean to be rude. No, sometimes I wonder whether I'm rude sometimes, right? But let me put it in very diplomatically. Should I say diplomatically, right? If you think that we are at the end of this AI build out, that we are at this bubble, you have no freaking clue. I told myself I'm not going to be vulgar today, all right? But you have no freaking idea the tsunami, the tectonic, the transformative impact AI is going to have in the world. You have got no freaking clue, right? Okay, so today hopefully I'm gonna share with you ideas to give you a freaking clue. For those of you who have not been reading, who have not been catching up, let me give you that freaking clue right now, okay? Now, the first thing to understand is that AI is in what we call a super cycle. It is not a fad, it is not a cycle, it is a super cycle. Now, what is a super cycle? A super cycle is defined by ChatGPT, okay? It's an extended period of strong, sustained growth lasting at least 10 to 40 years, okay? A super cycle lasts 10 to 40 years. And right now, how many years are we in the AI cycle that started in November 2022? How many years are we in? How many years are we in? We're only in year three. Year three, okay? This thing's gonna last at least 10 to 40 years. Now, let me show you this. So how did this whole thing start? So this thing started again in November 2022 with the launch of ChatGPT, right? And so it started with what we call text-to-text large language model. So you ask a question, it answers you. You ask another question, it answers you, right? Text-to-text. And then some of you know that now with you create text, you create images. How many of you have been playing with AI where you ask it to create a picture and edit a picture? How many of you have been playing with that? All right, so it started with Midjourney, and now there's thousands of software, right? And then we have got video, where I say, create this video for me. How have you been playing with that, right? Can now make videos and stuff like that. And so we had Sora, we had Veo, and now which is the most powerful video and image software? Which is the most powerful one right now? Everyone's talking about it. It is Nano Banana Pro. It is freaking amazing. You got to learn Nano Banana Pro. It is owned by Google, right? It's by Gemini. It is amazing, right? So we started with generative AI. So again, we have been doing this for only 3 years. And where are we now? We are now right here, okay? And by the way, this is continuing to improve every single day. What is the next stage that we just started? From generative AI, what is the next stage that we are now only beginning to build? It is agentic AI, or what we call AI agents, right? Now, what are AI agents? They are digital agents capable of enhanced reasoning and decision making with minimum human oversight. So the large language models is like you ask a question, it answers you. You type something, it creates an image, right? Digital agents are like digital employees that work autonomously, and they can do many things autonomously, right? So for example, my company, recently we spent a lot of money. We sent all our staff to learn about agentic AI so that my staff in my company can now build AI agents themselves. So with AI agents, you can use the agent to do cold calling for you. We built an AI person that you can't tell is not a human being. It sounds exactly like a human, but it's AI that makes cold calls for us, for customers. We build AI agents to help us to book flights, to book hotels, to read emails and to reply all our emails, all done by AI agents. And now my entire company is being trained in agentic AI. Okay. So the AI agent market is forecast to reach 42.7 billion in 2030. So how do you build AI agents? You have got many platforms. You have got Agent Kit by OpenAI. You got the Microsoft Agent Framework by Microsoft. And Google just launched the most powerful AI agent platform. How do you know what it's called? What is the most powerful AI agent platform? Just launched a few days ago. It's called, it's called Google Anti-Gravity. That's right. Go check it out. It's called Google Anti-Gravity. So with Google Anti-Gravity, you can create all these AI agents, right? Now, for those of you who find it hard to imagine what it is, okay? How many of you watch Iron Man? Iron Man, the movie? You know, in Iron Man, Tony Stark, he had this Jarvis, which was an AI agent, which was this person that he talks to that can do everything for him. That is an AI agent. So in the near future, all of us will have an AI agent, right? Right now, you've got to start learning to build AI agents. It's really powerful stuff, okay? Now, this will probably take anywhere from 3 years to 6 years to build out. All right. So another 3 to 6 years on that. Then what's after AI agents? What's the next leap? What's the next leap? The next leap will be physical AI. Basically, robots built with AI systems. And is this already happening, by the way? Is this already happening? Yeah. So the first place you're seeing it is in robo taxis. Okay. The robo taxi market is growing at a CAGR. CAGR means compounded annual growth of 91.8% for the next 5 years. 90% growth for the next 5 years for the robo taxi market. It's going to be worth $45.7 billion. Okay. Now that's already happening. So many of these things are happening concurrently. So right now, the robo taxi market is also starting now. Okay. Now, robotics. How many of you have been watching a lot of videos on all these robots already? It's pretty cool. Who has been watching all these robotics videos on social media? Cool and scary, right? So humanoid robots will be a 5 trillion market. 5 trillion in the next 5 to 10 years. Apple's next biggest business is building humanoid robots. Apple is now building robots that will work and live in our houses, in offices, in companies, right? Xpeng from China says the robotics industry will be bigger than the automotive sector. Now, let me ask you this question. In order to build all these AI agents and robots and robo taxis, do you need a tremendous amount of computing power? Yes or no? Yes. And the computing power we are now using is less than 5% of what is required for this entire build out that's going to take the next 10, 20, 30 years. We are just at the what? We're just at the what? Sorry, we're just at the what? We're just at the early stages. Now, how many of you are old enough to remember the early stages of the internet? How many of you are old enough to remember this sound? Let me play this sound for you guys. And let's see how many of you are as old as me. Hold on, let me see if I can play this sound. How many of you are old enough to remember that in the old days, to get online, it took quite a long time? Good. Now, how do I turn this off? Holy crap. Okay. Remember that, guys? Okay. Yeah. So right now, in the AI revolution, we are at that dial-up stage right now. We are just at this dial-up stage. Okay. We're just at this dial-up stage right now. Let's talk about robo-taxi so you understand the extent of that. Okay. By the way, which company is now leading in robo-taxis? Which company is leading in robo-taxis? Waymo, which is owned by Google, right? So Waymo, so if you go to San Francisco, you can see that a lot of the Uber rides on San Francisco, they are driverless. They are all by autonomous robo taxis. And now Waymo is expanding to Miami, as well as Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, and Orlando, and very soon all across the US. Singapore, have you just read? Next year, Grab is planning their robo taxi rollout very soon next year. So you can imagine that in the next few years in Singapore, there'll be more robo taxis than human drivers in the next couple of years. It's going to be very, very fast. Yeah. China, by the way, China, do they have robo taxis? Well, right now it's mainly in Wuhan, but now they're expanding to the four top tier cities to have 300,000 robo taxis. Okay. So Singapore is going to start next year. And yeah, there'll be no more Grab drivers in Singapore very soon. In the old days, they say, no job, drive Grab. Now cannot. Now all robo taxis. Okay. This is happening. Robots, let's look at robots, right? Have you been watching on social media, robots that are running marathons with human beings? Robots that are in fighting competitions? Robots that are in kitchens cooking now? And this is a factory robot by Amazon, okay? Now, currently, Amazon uses 1 million robots, 1 million robots in its factories. And it is looking to replace another 500,000 factory workers with humanoid robots, so that eventually 75% of the entire Amazon operations will be run by robots. Okay. Now, as an investor in Amazon, is this good news? As an investor in Amazon, is good news. Why? By the way, Amazon's e-commerce business is the least profitable of its businesses. Their e-commerce business, their profit margin is only 3 to 4%. Okay. Once they fully deploy robots in all their factories, in their logistics, their profit margin can easily double or triple. Double or triple. Now, if you calculate the bottom line impact, their share price can easily double or triple just on this. Right? That's why my biggest position in my portfolio is Amazon. Although the share price hasn't gone up as much as Palantir or NVIDIA or Google recently, but my bet is in the next 3 to 5 years, Amazon would overtake everyone. Okay, that's just my bet. All right. Okay. Now, so should you invest in robot makers, by the way? Should you invest in companies that make robots? The answer is, I wouldn't. I would not invest in a company that just makes robots. Why? Because take a look. Look at how many companies are making human robots. How many? How many are there? There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Not hundreds. In Suzhou alone, Suzhou, China, there are 2,000 companies that are making humanoid robots that are far advanced. They'll be far more advanced than the US robots that are much, much cheaper, right? So I will not invest in robot makers because it's going to be so competitive that in the end, all of them are going to make very little money. So instead of investing in companies that make robots, what do I want to invest in? What do I want to invest in? I want to invest in companies where all the robot companies have to use this product, which are robot foundational models. They have to train the robots, right? Okay. So which are the companies that provide the training models? Basically NVIDIA and Tesla, possibly, Alphabet, Meta. Okay. And more importantly, the GPUs. No matter what robot you use, you got to use NVIDIA. That's why NVIDIA is one of my biggest positions. So that no matter which robot company wins, NVIDIA will win. Right? So don't invest in robot makers because they will all kill each other. Invest in the things that they must all use, which are foundational training models and high performance computing chips. Now, let me give you an example, all right? if you look at the airline industry now, the airline industry, has it been a huge growth industry? Yes or no? Has the airline industry been a huge growth industry? Yes. Now, let me tell you something, right? In 1914 was the first commercial flight. In 1930, there were 400 airline companies. In 2008, there were 22. In 2020, there were 18. And since 1930, the industry in aggregate has lost 60 billion over 32 years since deregulation. There have been 86 bankruptcies in 40 years. So what does this mean? This means that today everyone takes a plane, right? The airline industry has been a huge growth industry, but if you add together all the profits of all the airlines in the world, the total profit was negative. They lost 60 billion in total. Why? Because there's too much competition. So as you guys know, one of my rules is in investing is what? I don't like to invest in companies that have a lot of competition because in the end, no one makes money, correct? I like to invest in companies where there's little or no competition. So if you take a look at the airline industry, none of the airlines made money in 40 years. None of them, okay? But which company made money from airlines? Basically, all the airlines had to buy planes from Airbus or Boeing, correct? Yeah. So you don't want to own airline companies. You want to own either Airbus or Boeing, right? But of course, Boeing recently has been doing very badly because of their plane crash, but Airbus has been the main leader of it, right? And okay, now same thing with the auto industry. Now, as you guys know, I never ever invest in auto manufacturers. I never invest in airline companies. I will never invest in robotics companies because they are just too competitive. Okay. In the auto industry, in 1919, there were 2,000 car manufacturers. 2,000. Okay. By 2009, there were 3 left. That means 1,997 went bankrupt. Okay, only 3 left. General Motors, Chrysler, and Ford. GM went bankrupt twice, or is it one time? I can't remember, right? Chrysler and Ford hardly make any money. Okay, and in the current day, there's only 2 left, which is GM and Ford. And of course, Tesla started in 2008. And now Tesla, their car business is also not doing well because there's tremendous competition from the China EV market, right? So one of the things that's why I say I never buy auto car companies, I never buy airlines, and I'll never buy robots. It's just too competitive. But I want to buy companies where all these companies have to use their products. Does this make sense, guys? Okay, so this is a bit of a detour here. So let me share with you some more information on why we are just at the beginning of this AI super cycle. Now, recently, have you been reading that, oh, the companies are spending billions and billions, they're spending too much money on AI infrastructure? Have you read that? Yes. Now, let's put it into perspective. If you compare the AI build up today, this is today's AI spending, compare it to past industrial revolutions. As a percentage of global GDP, we are just here. The US telecom build out, the US information and communications technology hardware build out, the US electric motor build out, the US auto infrastructure build out, the US railroads build out was much larger than where we are today as a percentage of GDP. So as a percentage of global GDP, the current AI spending is nowhere close to past infrastructure build-outs. Okay? This article just came out yesterday. Google All right. They said they must double their AI compute every 6 months for the next 4 to 5 years. They must double their AI computing power, double every year for the next 5 years. Okay. So this is why we are just at the early innings, right? So generative AI is projected to become a $1.3 trillion market by 2032. That's in 7 years, growing at a CAGR, which is an annual return of 42% over the next 10 years. What are the largest drivers of this generative AI revenue? You'll be number one, generative AI infrastructure as a service used for training large language models and inference. Okay, digital ads driven by AI, which is basically Meta, Netflix, and Alphabet. Okay, specialized generative AI assistant software, AI servers, AI storage, computer vision and AI products, which is basically Meta and Apple, and conversational AI devices. So if you look at this table here, this is where the biggest growth is in. So a lot of the companies that I'm going to invest in or I'm investing in is going to capitalize on the biggest growth opportunities in AI. Now, let me ask you this question. Is it only AI? Is it only companies that build AI systems that will do very well? Yes or no? No. It is any company in every industry that will leverage on AI.